don't think I had this opportunity to learn what you're learning back in college, nikiwa first year, you know. First of all, Sheila, I don't know why you don't like pizza. I'm not going to remember pizza twice, isn't it? What's the problem? So Sheila has talked about how to invest your money, like what you can do with your money, isn't it? She's talked about MFFs, she's saving, treasury bonds and bills and all of that, cryptocurrency. We're moving into a future where you need to be very adept with all of those things. But where do you get that money that you need to invest? Have you thought about it? I don't think my story is very unique because I'm not the first person who unfortunately dropped out of college. How many here are 19, 18? Really, sir? How many are 18 for real? No, not over 18, 19, 20, 19? No, 20, 21. Nah. 21, cool. So, here you are, 21 years old, right? You have a kid. You're jobless. You're still living in your mom's house. You have no papers. What do you do? So that's my story. Let me take you back to 2008. I did very well in high school, thank you very much. Then nifanya law. And I did a year and a semester until things happened. My father decided it's not a must, unfortunately, and I had to quit, like I had to drop out of college. And those are the cards that were dealt to me, you know? So what do you do? Of course, nilikuwa na a pity party, nililia miezi kadhaa. Because you know, you're left there wondering, okay, what do you do? Like, why? Why is this happening to you? But you will have to gather yourself and figure out life, okay? I just want to give you a lesson of not necessarily making it like, if you're dealt a certain set of cards, that is what you have to work with. So me sikumaliza shule, I was not given that opportunity to do that, and I had to figure life on my own. So nikaenda KMT siku moja, it was around 11 a.m. Nishafukuzwa kwa daro, hata hostel, wamemua, I'm not supposed to be there. I went to KMT and kulikuwa na auditions happening. And my friend was really, you need to have friends also that really encourage you and can root for you. So auditions are happening and my friend is like, and I'm like, me? No? Yes. And I go ahead and I audition and I get a job. We were doing set books. You remember how many, what were they called for high school? We were going to find a merchant of Venice. I acted out that book. No, that was me. And it was crazy because you're coming to town. I was living in Mbira then. So you're coming to town every day, like 3 days a week, to to rehearse, right? And that is your own fare, and you have to rehearse also for like a month, and then now you start going to Kisii, Kisumu, all that far. Then you're going to do a whole day's work, and you get 350 bob. What do you do with 350 bob now?
Probably get my ride back home.
Kisii. So, okay, you're in Kisii and you have 350 shillings, like your hard-earned money. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do with 350 bob? Let me minus lunch and supper. What do you do? You do what? You stay there. So you have 350 bob times 3. Quick mathematics, how much is that? You have 1,050 for 3 days. And we're talking about saving, we're talking about all of that, and you have to eat and you have to eat lunch and supper. It was a mess. It was a mess. And then also, since I was a very responsible person, I was also sending money to my mother. It was hell. And then kidogo, such is life. Nikatoka 350, nikaenda 650, and me na producer tulikuwa mahomies, nikaenda 700 bob. And I did that for like 2 years. Until now, I got another job here at Allianz, where we did Kenyans Made in Heaven, and I got a cool 10,000 shillings in 2 weeks, not a day, in 2 weeks. And I did that. Then finally, let me just give you a brief chronology of how I started. So from KAT, I went to Allianz, that's 10,000 bob. And then I got a job as an M-Pesa agent. How much do you think I was earning? Life. I was earning 9,000. And my eyebrows were on fleek then, and I didn't have a bad attitude, thanks. 9,000. And then I get another M-Pesa job right here at my avenue. Hata nilikuwa nachoma CD. Mulipata hizo times unanunua movies? Mulipata? That was me. And whenever you need your papers photocopied, that was me. So I moved from 9,000, then I went from 12,000, then somebody poached me. So when I was working at my avenue, I had very good people skills. And that is something which is, adept to me. I had very good people skills, and somebody just listened to me trying to sell movies to someone, and they were so impressed. And do you know, they turned around and offered me a job as a PR, almost like a PR intern, but with money. So of course I trained somebody else for 2 weeks, and I left for that job. Georgina works there for less than a month, and she is fired. She is fired because she did not have like a proper job description. All that person saw was just potential, And that's something that happens. Sometimes you can get a job and they haven't even quite told you exactly what you need to do, which is wrong. So that happened. Then, unfortunately, or fortunately looking back, I got pregnant. Please don't get pregnant at 22. It's a mess. It is a mess that you don't want to carry. But then, those are the cards that I was dealt with. So here I am at 21 going 22. I am pregnant, I don't have a job, again, I've been fired. I'm living in my mom's house, doing nothing is working out for me. Now, I had to look deep within me and figure out how to get out of this position. Now, I had so many people around me talking about, bro, like, I'm gonna go on radio, like you have a really good voice, what's the problem? And I had to sit down with myself, and I'm like, no papers, nothing, there's nothing going on. You have to work with what you have. So I had to believe in myself, and I had to believe in what my friends are telling me, that you have a good voice. So what do you do with this voice? I started studying about voice acting. How many know voice acting? So any commercial you hear on radio or on TV, the people talking, those are actual professionals. That's called voice acting. So I read about it, and I Googled, and I sat down with a pen and paper, and I was writing down all the production companies that I could see. Hata sijui nafanya nini, lakini we will figure it out. And I took all of those numbers, and I took all of those emails, and then I enrolled in the School of YouTube. I had to do that, it's free. I had to enroll in the School of YouTube. And I learned how to voice, and I learned how to put emotion in voice, how to articulate, the highs and the lows. I did that. I had to teach myself. Alafu nikajipatia psyche, nikajipatia moral. I used to pick a number and I call. Hi, my name is Georgina Mbira, and I'm a voice artist, and I would like to know if I can come to your studio and drop a voice demo. Unajiamini? Okay, the other person on the other side is like, yeah, we can give you a slot. Cool. Pick another number, say the same thing, send an email, drop a demo. I did that for a whole 6 months with nothing coming my way. One thing I would call myself right now for the purposes of this talk, not necessarily an entrepreneur, but a hustlepreneur. Because some of these things, actually all of the things that give me money now, I have taught myself. But again, it is by default. You understand? So if that ever happens to you, I'm hoping that you'll be able to fikisha form article 4. Year 4, you get a job and you proceed. But if that doesn't happen, you have to figure your life out. So that was the avenue that I took. And after 6 months, nothing was happening. I was feeling like crap, I was feeling like a failure, and I almost gave up. I actually almost gave up. Like, I didn't do that for like a whole month. And I'm crying, and I have a son, but you have to gather yourself up again. And you have to tell yourself, you know what? For lack of a better word, you're badass. And you have to believe that a door will open up for you. And after 6 months, the 7th month, the 8th month, I start getting calls. You get a call from this studio. Hi, come drop a demo. Hi, would like you to do a casting. Hi, can you come? Like that, like that, like that. And this is the kind of profession where you can do a cool 1 minute session that can give you almost 40,000. Okay? So when the doors started opening and the money started coming in, then you have to keep learning. You have to keep learning. You have to keep connecting with the people that have gone ahead of you. Because I'm not the first voice artist. No. There's so many people who've done this for so many years. Call them. Drop your embarrassment, drop your nini, just approach them. Hi, can you please teach me how to go about this and this and this? You know, learn about their own setbacks, learn about their own mistakes so that you don't make those mistakes. Okay? Right. So there I am, I'm doing my voiceovers, and then I was gaining a lot of confidence, and I was like, how about I start going for auditions, say for TV, for radio, let me do that. And I decided every time I check on Facebook, like auditions KE, I show up. Bro, there's nothing worse than auditions. Because you're going to be rejected so many times, you start questioning your own existence. Like, you are rejected so many times, you feel like a failure. But then again, what do? You go home and cry a bit, okay? You go home and cry, you don't go to, but then you gather yourself up, then you research. What do producers look for? You know, what are producers looking for in this certain role? How are you able to deliver a certain emotion? All of that. Because if you don't learn, you will always be stuck in one place. And then, who has ever died? Who do you know died by being told no? Who? Kuna mtu mmeizika, tuliambiwa no, akadai. Kevo. Kuna mtu mmeidai? Precisely. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And no, it's not the worst thing that can happen. It takes you to a better place of finding yourself. One thing I always teach I teach young people is find something that you'll naturally adapt to, right? And then work on it, and then work on it. That way, you will never work a day in your life. So after 69,000 rejections, I finally get an audition. How many of you know Perfect Wedding? You do? So a lot of people actually think I started our Perfect Wedding, which is a lie. Because when I went for the first audition, I was actually rejected, and I was told I don't have the look for TV. I was told I don't have the look for TV. And fine, yeah, you go, you question yourself, and then you have to keep, again, when we're talking about overcoming entrepreneurial setbacks, your internal monologue, okay? You have to keep check of your internal monologue. Because if somebody says you are a failure, and then you proceed to you proceed to tell yourself the same thing, there's really no point of waking up the next morning to try. There's no point. So you need to keep your internal monologue in check. You have to wake up in the morning. If you want to start a business, tell yourself, fine, utaenda Instagram, utapata the same business imeanzwa na watu 40. No problem. That shouldn't stop you, because there can be 40 people who are doing the same thing, but there's no you. Because you have a different sauce. You get me? Do you know you can have nyanya and kitungu and roiko and spaghetti and all of the same ingredients, this girl and this girl, you can have the same ingredients, but the meat is not going to taste the same. True or false? How many times have you eaten charcoal? But are all charcoals the same? But they're charcoal. Isn't it unga na maji na salt na mafuta? But it's the person that's making the charcoal, isn't it? So again, in the school of where Kevo went, school of life, which is the same school nimepitia, bro, itabidi unajiamini kabisa. So again, keep check of your internal monologue. Because in life, you're going to get so many no's, but if you give yourself that no, do not do what? Don't wake up in the morning and try again, there's no point. Okay? Fine. So I get that job about perfect wedding. After being told what? I don't have the look for? The look for TV. I proceed to win 2 awards for that show and make it extremely international. Say amen, please. Right? Because I went in, I'm very big on authenticity. Again, even in business. There are many people who, you're going to do the same business, but your customer care is so great. You know, you have personalized your business so well, and that's the reason you stand out. And that is being authentic, you know? So for me, again, in my line of work, I needed to be authentic. I needed to be me. There's no way I'm coming in to be show and being somebody else. The audience is very quick to pick on such things. Being yourself, being your true self is going to take you farther than anything else in this world. And it is the easiest thing to do. Because there can be a million Georginas in this room. I remember the first time I went to high school, I was so shocked, like nimeingia kwa dormitory, alafu naona Miss Victoria, Georgina Mbira. No, sorry, Georgina Njeri. My second name is Njeri. I was like, what? Nilitaka kabla niingie shule. Nisha Miss Victoria. Kumbe, it's a whole form 4. It's called Georgina Njeri, you know? But me and her are not the same. You get me? So there's going to be somebody, there's going to be, what's your name? Dendry. There's going to be a million Dendrys out there, but there's nobody like you. There's nobody like you who has a source like you. And if you can decide to put your authenticity, if you can decide to also drop the perfectionism. How many of you think you're perfectionists? No? You're good. Sheila, I think they're okay. Yeah. Yes, if you can take care of your internal monologue, if you can also define what success is to you, right? Because success to Dendry is not success to me. Me, this is an example. I know I'm going to be super successful if I get a Lamborghini. But the day I'll never get a Lamborghini, like, where? Who's that? You know, you need to define success. You get me? What is success to you? And then you work towards that. Because if you're working towards another person's definition of success, alafu usifike hapo, you will always see yourself as a failure. What's the point?
I'm still another job. I wanted to pursue the 3 months books.
What up?
The 3 months books.
My what? Three?
It's the 3 months books.
Ah. Oh my goodness. I think for me, I read way too many articles. I don't have like that one book. But there's a book I read, I forgot the name. Can I get back to you in a few? Thank you. Well, what's up group and you're looking for? Yes. Okay, first of all, having a mentor is actually quite important. Like, for example, I'm feeling extremely jealous right now. You having even a forum such as this, and you're open to having to speak to Sheila and Dan, you know. First of all, identify somebody who you, in your opinion, believe has, say, conquered that enchanted waters first, you know? And then proceed to have a sit down with them. Talk about first of all, talk about why you want to venture, you know? And then again, one thing I'm very big on is questions. Ask questions. People don't like asking questions because you're out here thinking you look stupid. And you will actually look stupid when you don't ask questions. You miss out on so many opportunities to learn. So when you identify somebody whom you think is a mentor, go express yourself, say this is what I believe I would do well in, you know? And then they're able to guide you the best way they know. That's it. But then again, also, I'm very big on self-belief because it is not enchanted waters. It is not. Like there's so many people who've already gone to that field and done very well, isn't it? So you are bound to find so many people that have something to teach you. So there I was. I did a perfect wedding, and then of course I resigned for personal reasons. But then again, I learned so many things on the job in terms of production, pre-production, and post-production. And that now took me further to opening my company. I have a company, a production company called Prime Films Limited. I am the producer. And again, these are things you learn on the job, you make your mistakes, and then I collaborate with other producers so that they're able to teach me. I always want to be the one being taught. I can teach a few things, yes, but I always want to be in a position to be taught. And that is how you better yourself, by learning from people that have been there. So many times I've done work for free, by the way, so that I can be able to have client feedback, so that I also teach myself matters, you know, how to interact with clients, if they are unhappy with your work, if they're happy with it, still on the job, okay? So now when all of that has been done, now you know how to make money, then Sheila comes in and teaches you how to invest and spend your money. So, like for me, with my company and of course voice acting, I'm also an MC, which is also self-taught. Again, these things I needed to learn them by myself. I also moderate, and whenever I make money, again, Sheila comes in. But basically, that's how you can make money when you're dealt the cards that I was dealt with. Thank you.
Mary Wamboi, tunakuona Cynthia Kiago, Shadrach Mwendo, Senior Masai. I really appreciate that you're following keenly from wherever you are. We don't know what you're doing, but we want to believe that you are listening to us. And there's a question, madam. The question is, how did you deal with your sense of self-doubt at a young age? I don't know the age, but that age that
21.
Cynthia Kiago.
I went through a lot of rejection, and also I had not properly learned how to tame my internal monologue. Let me tell you one thing that sounds very mad, and it looks very mad, by the way. It's going to look foolish. Just stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself, my mantra was, I am badass. I am badass. As in, I am badass. And you say that like 20, 50 times until you're getting out of that bathroom, knowing you're badass. So many times I used to get gigs like Georgina would like you to MC. There's what we call imposter syndrome. Have you heard of imposter syndrome? That is one thing, especially creatives like myself deal with. You're just there asking yourself, okay, what if I don't make sense? What if you know, so many. I used to tell myself, you know what, I'm not even going to ask why they called me. I'm not going to ask why they picked me. There's a reason why they did, and that's their reason, and I'm going to show up, and I'm going to do the best that I can. So Cynthia, I tamed my internal monologue. I had to tell myself that I am badass. I had to tell myself that I can do it. I have all capacity of doing the task ahead.